Let me tell you something that most people miss, and it's costing them their future. Success is not one big leap. It's not the lottery ticket. It's not the viral moment, the massive deal, or the overnight breakthrough. Success, real, lasting success, is a quiet process. It's hidden in the small wins. The ones no one claps for. The ones you think don't matter. But they do matter. Because small wins compound. They build belief. They create motion. And motion creates momentum. You see, the man who shows up every day, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one's watching, that's the man who gets the prize. The secret is not intensity. It's consistency. The question is not, can you do something great? The real question is, can you do something simple, over and over, until it becomes great? Because discipline, my friend, starts with the decision to do one small thing. Well, today, I want to challenge the way you think about progress. I want to show you how the smallest victories, stacking up over time, can lead to a massive transformation. If you've been waiting for motivation, this is it. If you've been chasing results and feeling stuck, this is the shift you need. Because once you understand the power of small wins, you'll never underestimate yourself again. So don't just listen casually. Lean in. This could be the day that changes everything. Success is a series of small decisions. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, I wonder what their big breakthrough was? We tend to think success comes from one major decision, one bold move, one giant leap. But I'll tell you the truth. Success doesn't come from a single decision. It comes from a series of small ones. That's the part most people miss. You see, every day we're making decisions. Some are obvious, where to live, what to do, who to marry. But the ones that shape our future the most, they're small. They're small. They're quiet. They're made in the moments when no one's watching. It's the decision to get up an hour earlier, to read a few pages of a good book instead of scrolling through your phone, to speak with kindness when it would be easier to complain, to save $5 instead of spending 10, to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it. These are the choices that determine your character, and eventually your outcome. Now here's something to remember. Every small decision is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, growth over comfort, service over selfishness, you cast a vote for success, and over time, those votes stack up. You might say, but Jim, it's just one donut, just one missed workout, just one day off my goals. And I'll say, sure, just one. But let me remind you, nothing ruins your life all at once. It happens little by little, one small decision at a time. The same is true for success. You don't build a business overnight. You don't become wise in 1 week. You don't get fit with one workout. You build it brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a young man full of potential, but short on results. He told me, Jim, I want to change my life. I want to earn more, be more, do more. So I asked, what are you doing daily that leads you there? He paused, and then shrugged. That's when I told him the truth. Your future is not in the hands of chance. It's in the hands of your routine. You don't get successful. You grow successful. And growth is the reward of small, consistent effort. You see, the greatest difference between success and failure isn't talent. It's not education. It's not resources. It's the daily decision to stay on course when most people drift. Now I want to get practical with you. Want a better body? It's not the gym membership. It's the decision to use it. Want a stronger mind? It's not owning 100 books. It's deciding to read 10 pages a day. Want a healthier relationship? It's not grand gestures. It's small acts of love, repeated. We all want transformation, but few want repetition. Let me say that again. We all want transformation, but few want repetition. But that's where the magic is. The extraordinary hides in the ordinary. Success is never accidental. It's intentional. It's deliberate. It's the reward for being faithful in the small things. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just change one thing. And do it consistently. Start with 5 minutes of focus in the morning. Start with one positive conversation. Start with drinking more water. Start with writing your goals down every day. Start small, but for goodness sake, start. Remember this truth. Small hinges swing big doors. Your future hinges on the small decisions you make today. Not the ones you think about. Not the ones you talk about. The ones you do. So ask yourself, what small decision can I make today that will make tomorrow easier? That's how it starts. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. Not with applause, but with a quiet, determined yes. You want the secret to success. It's not buried in a mountain. It's not locked in a vault. It's in the next decision you make. Decide wisely. Decide repeatedly, because that's how you build a life you can be proud of. The law of progress, not perfection. Let me tell you something that might lift a heavy burden off your shoulders. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. That's right. You don't need to get it right every single time. You don't have to execute flawlessly. You don't have to be the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented person in the room. You just have to keep going. You have to show up consistently, deliberately, and with intention. Because success doesn't belong to the perfect. It belongs to the persistent. Now, perfection is a seductive trap. It whispers to you, don't start until everything is in place. Wait until you have the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances. But let me tell you, perfection is an illusion. It's a stall tactic in disguise. See, here's the truth. Most people won't tell you. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never have every answer. You'll never eliminate all fear, doubt, or uncertainty. And that's okay, because progress doesn't need perfect conditions. It just needs courage and movement. Let me give you an example. When I started my personal development journey, I didn't have everything figured out. I was broke, embarrassed, and undereducated. But I decided I'm going to read one book, then another, and another. Not all the books were perfect. Not all the lessons clicked right away. But I made progress. And that progress, day by day, changed my philosophy. And that philosophy changed my life. You see, progress is honest. It's earned, and it's patient. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't aim for excellence, but perfection. That's not excellence. That's pressure. That's procrastination dressed up in a suit. Here's what I learned. If you aim for progress, you'll grow. If you aim for perfection, you'll freeze. Think about that. Have you ever delayed something because it wasn't ready yet? Maybe you wanted to start a business, but the logo wasn't right, or write a book, but the introduction wasn't perfect, or begin a health journey, but you didn't have the perfect workout plan. So instead of doing something, you did nothing. That's what perfection does. It paralyzes potential, but progress says, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and that's the beginning of greatness. So here's what I recommend. Trade perfectionism for momentum. Don't ask, did I do it perfectly? Ask, did I move forward today? Even 1 inch, even 1 page, even 1 honest effort, because 1 inch of progress is better than 10 miles of intention. Let me repeat that. 1 inch of progress is better than 10 miles of intention. You can't wait your way to success. You work your way there, with imperfect steps, imperfect days, and imperfect starts. Here's another thing. People respect real progress. They relate to it. When they see you try, fail, adjust, and keep going, you inspire them more than perfection ever could. Because perfection says, look at me, I'm flawless. But progress says, come with me, I'm growing. So today, I want you to take the pressure off. Forget flawless. Forget polished. Forget impressive. Focus on improvement. Progress is the law of life. And if you obey that law, if you stay in motion, you will get there. Not instantly, not effortlessly, but absolutely, without question, eventually. Because success doesn't belong to those who start perfect. It belongs to those who never stop improving. So stop waiting for the perfect day. Stop trying to write the perfect plan. Stop demanding the perfect version of yourself. Before you begin, just begin. And tomorrow begin again. Stack the wins. Build confidence brick by brick. If you ever find yourself saying, I just don't have the confidence, let me tell you something important. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And you build it the same way you build a wall. 1 brick at a time. Every small win you earn. Every promise you keep to yourself. Every day you follow through. Even when it's hard. That's a brick. Confidence doesn't come from wishing. It comes from winning. Not massive wins. Not world record wins. But small daily personal wins. Let me tell you a secret. You don't need a trophy to feel proud. You don't need applause to believe in yourself. What you need is evidence. That you can show up. That you can keep going. That you can follow through. And the good news, you can create that evidence today, right now, by stacking small wins. Think of it like this. Each time you make your bed, you win. Each time you write your goals down, you win. Each time you resist the temptation to quit, to delay, to skip, you win. And when you stack enough of those little victories, You look back and realize, I've built something. I'm not who I was, because that's how belief is formed. Through action, through evidence, through momentum. Now here's what's dangerous. The opposite. Every time you don't do what you said you would. Every time you delay what you know you should do. Every time you break a promise to yourself. You weaken the foundation. You remove a brick. You start to doubt. You start to hesitate. And soon your confidence starts to crumble. Not because you're incapable, but because you stop proving to yourself that you're capable. Confidence is a relationship with yourself, and like any relationship, it's built on trust. So the question is, can you trust you to follow through? Because if you can, there's almost nothing you can't do. Let me give you an example. I knew a young man once, bright eyes, big dreams, but low belief. He said, Jim, I just don't think I'm cut out for success. So I asked, what's one thing you know you could do? Every single day, no matter what. He said, I guess I could read 10 pages of a book. I said, good. Start there. That's your brick. One brick. Day 1 he read. Day 2 he read. Day 10, still reading. And by the end of that month he walked different, talked different. He believed different. Because confidence is not built in big moments. It's built in repeated moments. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not asking you to settle. I'm asking you to stack. You want big results? Start with small wins. Stack them. Layer them. Protect them. Because every win you earn, no matter how small, becomes a brick in the house of confidence you're building. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look up, and that little stack of wins, it became a wall of belief, a fortress of certainty. That's when people say, he's confident. No, he's consistent. So here's your assignment. Don't chase the applause. Don't wait for the big win. Find your brick. Lay it down. Then lay another tomorrow. Track your wins. Write them down. Celebrate them. Even if it's just a didn't hit snooze kind of win. Even if it's a drank water instead of soda kind of win. They count. They matter. They stack. And before long you won't need external motivation. You won't need someone to push you. Because you'll have something better. You'll have internal momentum. You'll be able to say, I've done it before. I can do it again. And that's the voice of a confident person. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to win today. Then win tomorrow. Then win again. Brick by brick. You're becoming unstoppable. The morning victory. Start with one win. If you want to change your life, let me give you a simple place to start. Start with the morning. Because how you begin your day often determines how you live your day. And how you live your day is how you live your life. Now, I don't believe in magic formulas. But if there was one, this would be it. Win the morning and you win the day. See, most people roll out of bed and into chaos. They wake up late, they scramble, they skip breakfast, check their phone, rush out the door, already behind. And then they wonder why they feel so out of control all day. Let me tell you, you can't expect to build a powerful life on a panicked morning. You've got to take back that first hour. You've got to own the beginning. Because the beginning owns everything after. Now here's where most people get stuck. They think they need some perfect 90-minute cold shower, green juice, meditation routine. No, you don't need perfect. You just need one win. Just one decision that puts you in motion. One act that tells your mind, I'm in control today. I choose the direction. That might mean making your bed. It might mean drinking a tall glass of water, writing your goals, reading 5 pages, stretching, praying, journaling, planning your day. Whatever it is, make sure it's yours. Make sure it's intentional. Because that one win in the morning, that's the signal. The flag in the ground. It tells your mind and your body. We're not reacting today. We're creating. It's not about the size of the win. It's about starting on purpose. Let me share a little truth I've learned over the years. Discipline is easier to follow when it starts early. If you can take control of your first 10 minutes, you're far more likely to take control of the next 10 hours. But if you start sloppy, if you give your morning to distraction, you're already surrendering the rest of your day. Now I know, mornings aren't easy for everyone. You might have kids, a long commute, a demanding job. But don't make the mistake of thinking time is the problem. It's not about having more time. It's about being strategic with the time you have. You don't need an extra hour. You need an extra dose of intention. 5 minutes of purpose beats 30 minutes of autopilot. Every time. Now imagine this. You wake up, and the first thing you do is something for you. Not for your job. Not for your phone. Not for the noise of the world. Just one action that says, this day belongs to me. That small win sets off a chain reaction. It builds confidence. It creates momentum. And momentum, my friend, is a powerful thing. Because when you start with intention, you tend to continue with intention. And the best part, this is available to everyone. Rich or poor, young or old, busy or free. You don't need talent. You don't need equipment. You don't need a coach standing over your shoulder. You just need to decide. Decide to begin. Decide to make the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of your morning count. Decide that you will set the tone, not your alarm clock, not your inbox, not the news. Because once you win the morning, you've already proven something powerful to yourself. I can create. I can lead. I can follow through. That one win, no matter how small, becomes the foundation for everything that follows. So if you've been struggling to stay motivated, if you feel like your days keep slipping away from you, start here. Not with the whole day, not with the whole plan, just with one win. Stack that win. Protect it. Own it. And then tomorrow, do it again. Soon, your mornings will feel different. Your confidence will rise. Your life will begin to shift. Not because of one big thing, but because of that one small thing. Done every day. Start with one win, and the rest will follow. Now let me give you a little warning. Just like momentum can work for you, it can also work against you. Ever notice how one bad decision can lead to another? Skip one workout, and it's easier to skip the next. Sleep in one morning, and suddenly the whole day feels off. That's negative momentum. And if you're not careful, it builds just as fast as the positive kind. So what's the antidote? Interrupt the pattern. Start a new streak. Win one moment, and reclaim the rest. You don't need to overhaul your life in a day. You just need to break the stall. Restart the engine. Nudge the wheel. Let me tell you, the most powerful people you know, they're not perfect. They're in motion. They know that once they show up, once they start the process, once they stack a win, they become unstoppable. That's what momentum does. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary output. So here's your assignment. Don't try to finish the marathon today. Just take the next step. Build the rhythm. Find your pace. If you're stuck, start. If you've slowed down, restart. If you've fallen off, rise up again. Because once you gain momentum, even the hard things start to feel easier. The discipline feels lighter. The focus comes quicker. The confidence begins to grow. And all of that from one simple decision to begin. So remember this, you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to be ready. You just need to move. Because once you're in motion, life starts moving with you. Make the invisible visible. There's a reason most people don't succeed. And it's not because they don't care. It's because they don't track. They don't measure. They don't write it down. They don't make the invisible visible. You see, success loves clarity, but life is full of noise, distraction, emotion. And when you rely on memory, on feelings, on vague intentions, you lose your edge. Let me tell you, if you can't see it, you won't sustain it. You have to see what you're doing. You have to see what's working. You have to see where the gaps are. Because when your goals live only in your head, they stay in fantasy. But when you put them on paper, now they're a plan. Now they're accountable. Now they're real. That's why I always say, don't trust your mind to hold your future. Write it down. If it's worth remembering, it's worth recording. If it's worth building, it's worth tracking. So let me ask you, are you tracking your habits? Are you writing down your progress? Are you measuring your daily disciplines? Or are you just guessing your way through? You'd be amazed at how many people say, Jim, I don't feel like I'm making progress. And I ask, well, what are you measuring? And they say nothing. That's the problem. You can't improve what you don't measure. You can't celebrate what you don't notice. You can't change what you don't first confront. So here's what I recommend. Start with a journal. Nothing fancy, just a notebook and a pen. Write down your wins, your actions, your intentions, your lessons, your gratitude. Track your habits. Did you work out today? Check the box. Did you read 10 pages? Write it down. Did you make that important call? Good, record it. Each check mark is proof. Each note is a receipt of your progress. You might say, Jim, it's just a tiny box on a page. Yes, but when you stack those boxes, when you flip back through that journal, you'll see something incredible. You're becoming someone. And that, my friend, builds belief like nothing else. Because now you're not guessing, you know. You're not hoping you're changing. You've got evidence that you are. And when you make the invisible visible, your confidence grows, your focus sharpens, and your purpose deepens. Now let's talk about another benefit, alignment. Tracking keeps you aligned. You may have a goal to be healthy, but does your daily behavior match that goal? You may want financial freedom, but is your budget, if you even have one, supporting that vision? When you track, you confront the truth. And the truth is what changes you. Because when the numbers don't lie, you stop lying to yourself. That's when growth begins. So don't fear the numbers. Don't run from the data. Embrace it. Use it. Let it guide you. It doesn't mean you need to become obsessed, but you do need to become aware. Awareness is the foundation of change. Awareness turns chaos into clarity. It turns confusion into control. When you track your behavior, your time, your habits, you get leverage. You start noticing patterns. You begin spotting problems before they grow. You celebrate progress you never would have seen. And let me tell you, nothing fuels motivation like visible growth. If you lost 1 pound, track it. If you saved $10, record it. If you woke up early and followed your morning routine, mark it down. Because each of those small things, they don't just build habits, they build identity. And identity is what drives lasting change. So here's your assignment. Today, decide what you're going to track. Pick 1 or 2 areas of your life: health, finances, reading, gratitude, goals. Start small but be consistent. Use a notebook. Use a whiteboard. Use an app. Doesn't matter. Just make the invisible visible. You'll be amazed what happens when you can see your effort. Because once you can see it, you can shape it. And once you can shape it, you can succeed with it. Master the mundane. Find greatness in routine. We live in a world obsessed with excitement. Everybody wants the next big thing, the shortcut, the hack, the magic formula. But let me tell you something important, and I want you to hear this clearly. Greatness is not found in the extraordinary. It's found in the ordinary. Repeated, that's right, the champions, the high performers, the men and women who build something meaningful. They're not chasing excitement. They're mastering the mundane. They do the small things, the boring things, the thankless things, with excellence. They don't rise because they're more talented. They rise because they are more consistent. They have learned the value of routine. Now I know, routine doesn't sound glamorous. No one gives you a standing ovation for waking up on time. There are no fireworks when you eat a clean meal, or go for a 30-minute walk. No cameras when you say no to distractions or write down your goals. But I'll tell you what happens. You build character. You build discipline. You build results. And those are the real rewards. See, most people crave variety, and that's fine in some areas of life. But if you want results, you need structure. You need repetition. You need habits that lock in, like gears in a machine. Because success is not sexy, it's scheduled. Let me say that again. Success is not sexy, it's scheduled. Show me your calendar, and I'll show you your future. What are you doing daily that leads you to your dream? What simple activities have you made non-negotiable? What parts of your routine are locked in, even when you don't feel like it? That's where the greatness lives. In the small decisions made over and over again. The mistake people make, they get bored. And when they get bored, they stop. And when they stop, they start over. But if you want to get ahead in life, you've got to stay with it. Even when it's dull, especially when it's dull. Because repetition is the mother of mastery. You want to master your craft? Rehearse. You want to master your health? Repeat. You want to master your mindset? Reread. Reread. Recommit. Consistency over time creates competence, and competence becomes confidence. And confidence leads to success. But it all starts in the mundane. Brushing your teeth, making your bed, reading every day, showing up on time, saying no when it's hard, finishing what you started, not once, but always. Let me give you a personal example. When I first started developing myself, I didn't feel special. I didn't feel talented, but I had one edge. I kept showing up, day in, day out, reading 10 pages a day, listening to tapes while driving, writing in my journal, reviewing my goals, doing the work, especially when I didn't feel like it. It was mundane. But that's what made the difference, because the mundane is where most people quit. And when you learn to stay when others stop, you rise. Now that doesn't mean you can't ever adjust or improve your routine, but you've got to learn to fall in love with repetition. You've got to trust that what looks boring today will look brilliant tomorrow. If you keep doing it, let me tell you, the world is full of people who start strong, but the ones who finish strong, they're the ones who learn to master the mundane. So here's your challenge. Pick 3 daily habits, lock them in, treat them like appointments with your future. Don't skip, don't delay, don't negotiate. Just do them every single day. Because when you keep doing the right things, even when no one notices, you start becoming someone you notice. You become reliable. You become resilient. You become dangerously consistent. And that, my friend, is the foundation of greatness. So don't chase the spectacular. Don't wait for excitement. Instead, build your routine, master your mundane, and watch your life transform. Because the secret, what looks small today, becomes unstoppable tomorrow. The power of a 1% improvement. Let me share a secret with you. You don't have to be twice as good to get twice the results. You don't have to transform your life overnight. You don't need to leap tall buildings or make giant strides. What you need is just a little bit better. 1%, that's right. If you improve just 1%, not per year, but per day, compounded over time, you transform your life in ways most people can't even imagine. Now I know, 1% doesn't sound like much. It's not flashy, it's not exciting, but that's the brilliance of it, because 1% improvement is doable, it's sustainable, and most importantly, it compounds. Let me explain. If you improve 1% today, and 1% tomorrow, and the next day, you don't just get a little better, you create momentum. And once momentum kicks in, you go from surviving to thriving. See, most people try to change too much, too fast. They go all in on January 1st, and they're all out by February. Why? Because they tried to do everything, instead of just doing something. But you're wiser than that. You're going to understand the law of incremental growth. Because here's what I've learned. Success doesn't demand perfection. It demands progress. And 1% improvement, that's progress. Let me give you an example. If you read just 10 pages of a good book every day, that's over 3,600 pages a year. That's 15 books. Books on mindset, money, leadership, growth. And if those books change your thinking, they'll change your decisions. And if they change your decisions, they'll change your results. All from 10 pages a day. Just 1%. You see, improvement doesn't shout, it whispers. But if you listen and act, it becomes your secret weapon. Now let's get practical. How do you apply the 1% rule in your life? Start here. Health, drink 1 more glass of water. Add 5 minutes to your workout. Money, save $5 a day. Track 1 new expense. Relationships, send 1 kind message. Show 1 act of appreciation. Mindset, read 1 page. Write 1 sentence of gratitude. Discipline, wake up 10 minutes earlier. Focus, cut 5 minutes of distraction. That's it. Nothing dramatic. Just deliberate. Because 1% done daily becomes exponential over time. And here's the beauty. It works both ways. If you neglect 1% every day, let a small bad habit slip, ignore 1 detail, procrastinate 1 task, that too will compound. You'll drift. You'll feel stuck. You'll wonder how you ended up so far off course. That's the danger of negative compounding. So ask yourself, are your daily actions compounding for you or against you? Because there's no neutral in life. You're either building or breaking, moving forward or sliding back, investing in your future or borrowing from it. But the good news, you get to choose every day. And when you choose 1% improvement, you win. You win without stress. You win without burnout. You win without needing to perform miracles. You win because you've chosen the path of the wise, the path of daily discipline, daily progress, daily growth. And remember, the compound effect doesn't show results right away. That's why most people give up too soon. They want fireworks. They want applause. But true growth is quiet at first. Then one day, boom, you look back and everything's changed. You're sharper, stronger, wiser. Your income has grown. Your confidence has grown. Your influence has grown. And when people ask, what happened? You can say it wasn't one thing. It was everything, just a little at a time. So don't wait for a breakthrough. Be the breakthrough. Start with 1 small improvement today, and then do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. That's how mountains are moved. That's how legacies are built. 1% at a time. Celebrate the small. Honor the effort. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you gave yourself credit? Not for a massive achievement, not for a milestone, but for the effort, for the discipline, for showing up when you could have stayed down, for following through, even in the smallest way. You see, the world is trained to celebrate results, big wins, big numbers, big breakthroughs. But what I've learned and what I want you to remember is this: success is built on effort, and effort, especially when it's quiet, lonely, and invisible, deserves to be honored. You won't always see the harvest right away, but if you're planting the seeds, watering the ground, tending the soil. That's winning. And it's time you started celebrating that. Let me tell you why this matters. When you only celebrate the big moments, you miss most of your life. Because life isn't made up of big moments. It's made up of small efforts, repeated daily. So if you're waiting until you hit the goal to feel proud, you're doing it backwards. You don't get proud after the win. You get proud by showing up for the work. Every day, every repetition, every act of integrity. Now listen, this isn't about ego. This is about energy. And energy flows where attention goes. So when you acknowledge your effort, you fuel more effort. When you notice your progress, you create more progress. And when you celebrate the small, you build the momentum for the big. Let me give you an example. I once worked with a young entrepreneur. He told me, "Jim, I feel like I'm getting nowhere. I'm working hard, but I'm not seeing big results." I said, "Are you tracking your actions?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Are you celebrating your consistency?" He looked at me confused. That's the problem. He was doing the right things, but he wasn't giving himself permission to feel good about it. So I gave him a new rule. Every win, no matter how small, gets recognized. Woke up on time. Good. Made your calls? Great. Worked out when you didn't feel like it? Fantastic. Didn't quit when it got hard? Celebrate that. Because those are the real victories. They build strength. They build self-respect. They keep you in the game long enough to win big. Now you might say, "Jim, I don't want to lower my standards." And I'll say this. Celebrating small wins isn't lowering your standards. It's reinforcing your values. You're not rewarding mediocrity. You're reinforcing consistency. You're building belief. You're showing your mind, this matters. This is who I am. Because guess what? What gets celebrated gets repeated. So the next time you finish a workout, or decline a distraction, or choose discipline over comfort, pause, acknowledge it, smile, write it down, feel it, let that win sink in. You don't have to throw a party, but you do need to recognize the effort. And not just in yourself, but in others, too. Encourage your spouse, applaud your child, high-five your colleague, because when you honor effort in others, you magnify it. You breathe life into momentum, and that's a gift. Now let's be honest. There will be days when you don't feel like you did enough. Days when progress feels invisible. But if you showed up, if you moved forward, that's enough for today. Success is not about being the best every day. It's about being faithful to the work, even when no one's watching, even when no one's clapping. So here's your new habit. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do today that deserves to be celebrated? Not judged, not dismissed, celebrated. Write it down, feel proud, stack the wins, and watch your identity shift. Because over time, those small, honored efforts, they add up to something unshakable. A sense of self-trust, a deep confidence, and eventually, undeniable success. So don't wait, celebrate the small, honor the effort, and keep moving forward with a full heart and a focused mind. Small wins create big belief. Let me tell you something that changed the course of my life, and it might just change yours too. Belief doesn't come first. Action does. And not just any action. The small kind, the daily kind, the kind that seems insignificant until it isn't. See, people often say, "Jim, I'll start when I believe in myself," but that's not how it works. You don't wait for belief. You build belief, and the way you build it is by stacking small wins. You follow through on what you said you'd do. You keep promises, especially the ones you make to yourself. You finish what you start, even when it's not fun, even when no one's watching, even when no one claps. That's how belief is born. Not from inspiration, but from evidence. Let me say that again. Belief comes from evidence. When you do the work, and you see the result, no matter how small, you begin to trust yourself. That trust becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes conviction. And that conviction is what separates the dreamers from the doers. So if you've ever looked in the mirror and felt unsure, if you've ever doubted your abilities, your potential, or your worth, don't start by trying to think positive. Start by doing something positive. Win the moment, win the hour, win the day, because each of those wins is a deposit in your belief account. You don't need one massive success to believe you're capable. You need 100 small ones. Stacked, layered, proven. Let me give you a real-world example. Say you're trying to get in shape. Now, you don't need to run a marathon to feel like an athlete. You need to move your body today. You need to eat something clean today. You need to drink water, stretch, take the stairs. Today, that's your win. And when you do it, your brain says, "I'm someone who follows through." And the next day, you believe a little more. This is why routines matter. why rituals matter, why journaling, checklists, habits, and tracking systems matter. Not because they impress anyone else, but because they tell you, day after day, I can count on me. That's powerful, because the opposite is also true. If you continually don't do what you said you'd do, if you break commitments, skip goals, avoid effort, your belief begins to erode. You start to think, I guess I'm just not that kind of person. But that's a lie. You are that kind of person. You've just been starving your belief instead of feeding it. So feed it. How? With action, with evidence, with execution. You want to believe you can start a business? Don't fantasize. Open a notebook and write the plan. You want to believe you're a leader? Don't wait. Lead in the small moments. Lead your morning. Lead your attitude. You want to believe you can change? Then prove it to yourself today. The win doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be real. Because once you get a taste of victory, no matter how small, you stop doubting and start doing. You stop hesitating and start building. And that's when everything changes. You no longer need outside validation because you have internal confirmation. You've seen what you can do, and now you can't unsee it. You've won before, and that means you can win again. You've built belief, brick by brick, and now it holds you up. So here's the truth. You don't need to feel like a giant today. You just need to take one small step, and let that step remind you of who you are. Because small wins, they stack, they speak, and they shout louder than your doubts ever could. So stop waiting for belief to appear out of thin air. Create it, shape it, earn it, with one decision, one action, one win, and then another. Until one day, you're no longer hoping you can succeed. You know you can, because you've built a track record. You've built belief. Master the minutes, and you master your life. So here we are. We've talked about small wins, about momentum, about discipline, about stacking the bricks of confidence, day by day, inch by inch. And if there's one message I hope you carry with you from this entire journey, it's this. You don't have to master the year. You don't even have to master the day. You just need to master the moment, the minute, the decision right in front of you. Because that's where your life is actually happening, in this moment. Not someday, not eventually, not when conditions are perfect, right now. And let me tell you something. Your future is being built in these little minutes. Your habits are being forged. Your mindset is being shaped. Your destiny is being decided. Minute by minute, every great life is made from small wise choices, repeated thousands of times, not dramatic, not public, but real. The decision to get out of bed when it would have been easier to snooze. The decision to speak encouragement when you could have stayed silent. The decision to say no to distractions and yes to purpose. These are the moments that shape everything. You see, most people waste their lives waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for a lucky break, waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity. But here's the truth. You don't need a breakthrough. You need follow through. You need to win 1 minute and then the next. You need to string those minutes together until they become momentum. Because once you master the minutes, you master the hours. Once you master the hours, you master the days. And when you master the days, the years will take care of themselves. The key is not to do more. The key is to do what matters. Consistently. Ask yourself, what can I do with this minute right now? Can I make a better choice? Can I take a small action? Can I honor a commitment? Can I speak something kind? Can I stretch a little further? That's how a legacy is built. Not with one grand act, but with thousands of purposeful minutes. You don't have to get it all right. You don't have to be perfect. But if you can be faithful to the moment, that's enough. That's how you become who you were meant to be. Not all at once, but slowly, steadily, deliberately. So today, don't waste the minute. Own it, shape it, invest it. Because these minutes, they are your life. And if you can master them, you can master anything.